I deleted the last 3 videos on my channel because out of every single project I've ever done, those are by far the ones I'm the most disappointed with. Because over the past couple of weeks I've been trying to perfect like anime in Blender, and I've come to realize that Blender is absolutely hot garbage for this kind of thing. So a lot of you probably know this by now, but I like to experiment with like different styles of storytelling using 3D and my phone and slapping together various technologies to see what interesting stuff I can get away with on this channel. And one of the styles that caught my eye is 3D anime in Blender, whatever you want to call it. Basically using Blender 3D to make anime. Some of you might also remember that I posted a community note a while back about wanting to make a sort of passion project. I was going to take Tekken and turn it into like a sort of anime that's inspired by like young ladies don't play fighting games. But at the time I didn't have the skills to build it yet because it requires a host of techniques that I wasn't very good at. One of those is shading in the anime style in the first place, character modeling, and most importantly being able to direct an animated piece, like being able to tell a story in full 3D. So I spent a couple of weeks like in tutorial hell just trying to understand how to do that animated shading. Like I went onto Twitter, and like Twitter's filled with 3D artists sharing like scenes that they've built in Blender that look completely anime. But the thing I also noticed about like artists, especially 3D artists, which is very different to engineers, is that 3D artists don't seem to share their techniques as openly as engineers do. For example, we have GitHub, we have Stack Overflow, and it's kind of like a norm. But here I kind of needed to be lucky and find a tutorial, or get lucky and buy a course online that would have the exact thing that I needed to learn to do the thing that I wanted to do. And that, I'll admit, I found a little bit frustrating because I would eventually come to learn that like that anime aesthetic couldn't be achieved with Blender on its own entirely. You need a pipeline that has Blender, that has some After Effects, sometimes Photoshop, texture creation that won't be reactive to the lighting in your scene. So I decided to just cut my losses. Blender's not good for this kind of thing, so let's just work with what we have. So I made myself a very basic toon shader that didn't have any like gradient transitions of any kind, and light and dark would just be like a hard line between each. I'm hoping in this picture it makes sense what I'm trying to say. And one of the biggest examples of this problem came when I was trying to get bold character expressions out of my characters. You ever watch anime and they do like the comedic things and the eyes get like really white, or the face gets like super hand drawn looking and stuff? Unlike drawing, where you can just draw the character completely different in a new frame, in Blender you need to actually deform the mesh as is, or have a completely separate mesh, and the mesh is like the comedic mesh. And I just came to the conclusion that like after that this is just not going to work, because my understanding of the process now is that a lot of making things in Blender is you need to be okay with being like a tinkerer. Like someone described it perfectly, you need to be cool with being a toy maker, where I want to be a storyteller. And I feel like working with all the technicalities in Blender just put so many barriers between me and the story I wanted to tell. So much so that I needed, for the last video that I made, I needed to tweak the story that I wanted to tell to work around the limitations that I technically ran into trying to make Blender do what I wanted it to do. So then I just thought to myself, I know how to draw, I know how to draw pen and pencil. Let's just fucking draw out my project. Let me just draw it myself. And I'm still gonna have Blender part of whatever pipeline that I come up with, because I think for like hard surface things and backgrounds, etc., Blender's still actually like pretty good for that. The background stuff can be very time consuming, and I just think it's just easier to do that kind of thing in like software. But when it comes to character work, I'm going to just do everything on my own. As for the content on my channel, because I do want to talk about that as well, I think I really wrote myself into a corner with that whole does games part of my name. Because apart from the fact that I thought I'd be playing a lot more games than I initially was, Tekken, I imagined at the time that Tekken would like tide me over a lot. So like I'd either be playing something, and when I wasn't playing that thing, for example Expedition 33, when Expedition 33 was finished, I'd come back to Tekken. But the problem that I ran into is that because I'm such a low ranked player and I'm in South Africa, I find it very difficult to play ranked, right? Because the player pool here is so small, and the amount of like low rank players is even smaller, every night I was either going to get a match or I just wouldn't. And I found like all that dead space in between games to be very frustrating. And I didn't think I could build like the core of a channel around an experience that's deeply frustrating. I felt that was worth explaining because a lot of you that are probably watching this video came from my Tekken stuff. So I just wanted to like explain what my issue with the game was. Maybe season 3 will be different. The season 2 debacle was a big deal, but even before that, like I did try to get back into the game during season 2 and I just kept running into this particular problem, which to me makes it undoable for me as a thing to like base a large portion of my channel on. With that being said, I will be doing Tekken stuff because I imagine I'll still be playing it when season 3 comes. I have seen a bunch of tech that I kind of want to look into for Kazuya that I think would make really fun videos in that style that I had before, but that's like not going to be a significant part of my channel because I just think it's just completely unsustainable. So whatever I end up doing with my channel, I do hope you stick around to like see if you like the future stuff that I make. So yeah, with that being said, I hope you're entertained. Thanks for watching, and I also hope to see you in the next one.